I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Dr. Bones, listening to Dr. Bones.
Good afternoon, this is Dr. Bones Live here on a Saturday afternoon, which means it's time for another episode of...
And now it's time for another episode of Blogger's Corner with Britt.
And welcome, Britt, back to the show. How are you, Britt?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Very well, thank you. So I want to get into the Olympics right away. And first off, I posted a picture, and I sent you a copy of this picture. So there's a picture floating around online because yesterday Canada played the U.S. in hockey in the semifinals. And what happened was there's a picture. There's a U.S. hockey player with Bieber in the middle and a Canadian hockey player. It says, "Loser keeps Bieber." So my apologies, but he's all yours.
Well, that sucks.
Well, fair is fair, right?
Yeah, it's pretty fair. And America, how long did they know this was on the line? Because I would hope that they would fight a little harder.
But you know what? All in all, like even though they did lose, they played really well, and it actually really was a really good game. I mean, both teams came out hitting hard. I mean, the U.S. pretty much took it to Team Canada in the first 5 seconds, almost got a goal right off the hop. So, but they looked good the entire time. I mean, and it's next Olympics, hopefully they'll do better. But they did have a really good team this year, and they did do very well. Like Kessel and Van Riesdijk were just tearing up with like a lot of goals, and it'd be nice to see Kessel play like that for the Leafs, his NHL team. And but no, otherwise than that, no, it was a really good game, some good hits, some just all around good hockey, and it's always a fun rivalry. So that being said, Team Canada will play Sweden tomorrow for the gold, and it's going to be a tough game. And honestly, as much as I don't like to say it, there's a good chance we can lose because Sweden has an awesome team this year.
Oh, well, I'll be rooting for you guys. I haven't kept up as much with the hockey as I have the skating.
I've seen bits and pieces of it, so I haven't probably watched like maybe a few performances all the way through, but like not one after the other. I'll maybe watch one, and I'll get up and do something else, and come back again and watch it. I mean, I watched the Canadian pairs, and we got Silver this time around, and what's her name, Tessa, and I should really know that.
Scott Moyer?
That's it, thank you. I should have known that, and because they're actually fairly close to London, live in a town called Ilderton, which is about 25 minutes away.
Oh, neat. Have you ever seen them?
Yeah, actually, when they won the gold, they came through London Airport, so everybody got a chance to meet them and take a picture with them.
Oh, that's so cool. What were they like?
They were very nice. Actually, the Olympics being held, last Winter Olympics being held in Vancouver, which is it was really cool because we got to see a lot of stuff we don't normally get to see. So we got to see the Olympic torches when they're coming through because a lot of athletes, and since they were pretty much like more than stepping up security there, they had pretty much a lot of police officers out of London going to the Olympics. They had RCMP. They had sharpshooters. It was pretty cool, let me tell you, to meet some of these guys.
Wow, that's intense.
That alone like made it worthwhile. I mean, it was awesome. Like obviously they're all very nice guys, and it was really cool. Like when you come through, because we know ahead of time they got paperwork, blah 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 blah. So and they come through, and one guy says, "So what are you? Goes, are you RCMP? Are you LPD?" He goes, "No, but sharpshooter." Is like, awesome. So it's like, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, regardless of being a sharpshooter, like just some stuff in general. I mean, I would love to have that accuracy for anything,
Oh, sure.
So that made it a lot of fun, but Tessa and Sam were very nice. I mean, they were good to everybody, and thing is, we had a couple of hockey players too that are local to London as well that are at the Olympics, and one of them is Drew Doughty, who's from a town called St. Thomas, and St. Thomas again is about 15-20 minutes away, so it's really close. And actually, no, sorry, he's from Strathroy. My mistake. I gotta correct that real quick. Strathroy is just outside of London too. It's roughly about a half hour east of us. Anyways, he's actually, most of the hockey players that come through have been fairly nice. There's been a few times where there's been some pro players that haven't exactly been the nicest people in the world. But that aside, Drew Doughty was really nice. And one thing I found out too is a buddy of mine who works in the airport as well actually grew up with Drew because he lives in Strathroy as well. And I was telling him, because I said, I met Drew Doughty. He goes, oh, really? He goes, look at this. And there's a picture of him, Drew Doughty, and a couple other buddies of his in Strathroy at a party.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so they pretty much grew up together.
Oh, that's really cool.
So,
Yeah, that is really neat. I was very caught up with the Canadian ice dancing team, Virtue and Moyer. I know this is going to sound maybe bad being American, but I was actually rooting for them to repeat their gold medal.
Well, that's nothing wrong. I mean, other places cheer for other teams. It's not. I wouldn't say it's bad just because you like another ice skating team. I mean, everybody has a preference, and obviously
That's very true.
So, one thing, it's not what you're saying, I'm living in the U.S., but I'm going for this country despite I've been born and raised here, right? So.
Yeah, it sounds bad, but, my mom's from Michigan, so I said, well, they did train in Michigan, so,
and they're
there's that.
and they're close enough to Windsor, so.
There you go. I just was 4 years ago, I was just blown away by them, and 4 years later, it still rings true. I was kind of sad the way the American press, they acted like it was such a shoo-in for Davis and White, and when they came from the Worlds, they were only divided by a tenth of a point, and I'm thinking, we need to stop. It sounded so arrogant to act like it was such a lock, but sadly they ended up placing silver. I personally enjoyed their performance better. There's so much more performance there, and I was talking to people this week. We were complimenting the American team for their perfection in the technical realm. For me, that was great, but the other team was technically sound with everything they did, and they had performance quality. So for me, that pushed the Canadians quite a bit past them.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, and the other thing, I just one more thing about the hockey is the Canadian women, unfortunately did beat the U.S. and got the gold. So now the pressure's on the guys.
Well, there you go. I saw the women get their medals. It was very sweet.
Well, you know what? All in all, that was an awesome comeback within 3 minutes, and they came back and won in overtime. It was something else to see. But the thing is, I think what happened is the U.S. got a little too comfortable and started in the lead instead of trying to keep on improving it, and I think that's pretty much their downfall in the last 3 minutes. Almost like they got lazy.
Oh, I see. Yeah, that happens. It's all about that winning mentality.
But that's just my take on it. I mean, that may not be actually what happened, but that's what I kind of surmise from the situation. So, but I mean, it's interesting to see. I mean, like the amount of people that even watch that game, because a lot of times there's guys like, oh, I'm not going to watch women's hockey, blah blah, and man, it's exciting. I mean, they are really good. It's there's no checking, but so it means there's more passing, more shooting, and they are something else. Let me tell you.
That's good to hear. I hear people say, I don't watch women's basketball, but I always enjoyed watching it. I thought there was a few things that they couldn't do that men teams do, but they keep it exciting. There are some things they can do that keeps the sport interesting.
Absolutely. And the thing I think I like the most about the Olympics is all the countries kind of come together, and especially when they're all gathered around watching one sport, doesn't matter what it is, and everybody's into it, because that's how it was yesterday for the semifinal game against the U.S. At the airport. Pretty much when you get into the secure area, there's TVs, and there's like a little restaurant right away. That entire bottom floor was packed with people, and the upper part where you pretty much have a seat and wait for your plane to be called up, right? So it was completely packed, and everybody's like sitting around, standing and watching the TVs, and they're just waiting. And okay, it was a real meal, but the last like 5 minutes was was very unnerving because the U.S. came very, very close to scoring, and they could have potentially sent them into overtime, and then a shootout if no one won the overtime. So it was something else, and it was one of those things where it gets down to the last 10 seconds, and they're still up 1-0, and everybody's like, all you hear is throughout the airports, 10 seconds. And then and when it gets down to it, everybody's counting like from 5, and the roar was unbelievable, literally back and forth. Like you couldn't hear anything but people cheering in the airport, and all the high fives were going. It's like,
that is really sweet. It is so nice when you feel that camaraderie, and that's something I just always enjoy about the Olympics. It draws people, fellow countrymen together. It joins the whole world together in this competition, and gives you a chance to see people you maybe never see. I just love when you get to see all the international competitors come together and they're united to do the same thing, these same sports, and it really fills me with something. Maybe I'm being corny, but it just kind of makes me all warm inside. So I'm really sad that it's ending.
Yeah. Oh, the closing ceremonies are tomorrow. I'm not sure what time, but I don't think they'll be too late. Probably around noon, I would think. Maybe a little bit before.
Yes, and they're going to show a Tanya Harding, Nancy Kerrigan documentary before the closing ceremonies. That will be airing on NBC. I hope everyone will be able to see it, but it is something for all of us to look forward to.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week because you have done, or you will be doing a write-up on it, correct?
I already did a write-up.
That's what. Okay. Yeah, just double checking. I couldn't remember there, so my apologies for having a little brain freeze. So.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, that's fine. I could confuse myself, so I'm like, did I publish that or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm making my big play for a movie version of this story. It will be interesting to see. This is different from the ESPN documentary that I'd seen that I based that article off of. So they are this is on that particular documentary, they only interviewed Tanya Harding for it. Nancy Kerrigan didn't agree to do it. So now she's finally sitting down. She's going to talk about her side of things, and they're going to hear from both ladies. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, cat fight.
Yes, I think there's only one way to really settle this,
Yeah.
but no.
That if I know this was coming, I would have pulled it up. Because like now and then I'll take like different clips from like a TV show or movie, and kind of throw them in here and there, just hoping I'll find a time for them. And with the cat fight thing, I have one from the Seinfeld episode where there's getting cat fights and Kramer's like, cat fight. So it was a funny episode because Elaine gets into one, and there's a few others, and they're not like all out scraps. They just kind of just the talking, the angry tones back and forth.
Yes, a very famous signature of women fighting.
So it was. I mean, either way, it's who knows what's gonna happen there. I would think by this time that they'd hopefully be over it.
I would think they would, but Tanya Harding's whole life got ruined by it, and Nancy Kerrigan is apparently still got some very strong emotions about it. I'm very fascinated by the whole dynamics between these two women. I actually got to see Nancy Kerrigan skate down at Disney World after she'd won the medal, and it was you kind of get a sense of people. Right. And that's kind of all I'm going to say about that.
No, fair enough.
Yeah.
I might watch it, but I might PVR and watch it later, to be honest. So if I do,
it's okay as long as we all watch it.
Yeah, I think I should just for possibly having a mouthful to say about it next week.
There you go. Yeah, it's a scandal that just keeps on giving.
But other than that, the Olympics have been great, and then yesterday, we got 2 more golds in curling. Yay! There's an exciting sport.
I still still honestly do not understand the mechanics of the sport. When they're doing the broom, I don't understand what is happening. I just don't understand it.
It was explained to me yesterday, so I kind of get it, but regardless of that, for me, it's boring to watch. It's like watching a big game of shuffleboard.
Very true. Is there any enlightenment you can share that may help me understand it better?
Pretty much, you're trying to line your stone up to hit a certain circle on the other side, and there's someone on the other side. I guess the person tossing stones is called the skip, and then the person on the other side, like down at the circles, is pretty much giving you an area to hit, and sweeping could possibly slow it down or speed it up if you're trying to get a certain circle and it's on its way to missing.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's pretty much what I gathered for. I mean, she was telling a whole bunch of us, so I was kind of getting it, but at the same time too, I was kind of tired too, so I wasn't asking too many questions. So maybe next time around, I'll have more to say, more how it works. But yeah, it's pretty much what I got from it. The broom can speed up or slow it down. The person on the other side is trying to guide them as to what circle they want to hit. The person tossing stones is called the skip, and that's pretty much what I got out of it.
Wow. Okay, so that helps me out a little bit. I still don't understand how curling, no offense to curlers out there, but I don't understand how that is an Olympic sport, and ballroom dancing, I don't believe that's not an Olympic sport. Am I right?
Not that I know of.
Okay, well, I would really much rather watch ballroom dancing than curling.
Well,
sorry.
No. I don't know how to answer this delicately. So it might be one of those times. It's probably best not to say anything at all because I'm not sure I can say it without well, not necessarily being offensive, but just never mind. I'm gonna pass on it. It's probably not a good idea. So.
Are you worried about offending curlers or ballroom dancers?
Oh no, neither. I was gonna say. I mean, the draw for the Olympics is everyone, but I can't see ballroom dancing ever getting in there. Just even though there obviously are tons and tons of women that watch the Olympics, I just don't know if that's enough to say, yeah, let's make this a sport in the Olympics. So. I don't know.
That's very true.
I mean, I know.
My only reason. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say I know it's obviously not an easy thing. So I'm not saying that because there's no merit to it, it shouldn't go in. But I just don't see it happening.
All right. Well, I totally see what you're saying. My only thing would be to justify it, kind of in terms of ratings, would be, well, first of all, Dancing with Stars, but second of all, would be that people are watching people dance on the ice, and so if you had a summer Olympics where people were dancing on actual floors, if people who watched them on the ice would watch them on actual floor, maybe there would be some kind of transitional viewership.
Yeah, I can see that point for sure. I never thought about it that way, but you got a good point.
Yay!
The one thing.
I'm gonna go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and nominate Derek Huff to be the head coach of the American ballroom dancing team.
But one thing though, I think, like I said, I'm glad they introduced the Olympics this time around was a slopestyle skiing because that was a lot of fun to watch. And just
yes,
I mean it's such an intense sport, so it made it so much fun to watch, and just watching these guys pretty much dropping down backwards on skis, hopping up on the rails, and doing like 3 or 4 like 360s in the air before they hit the snow again. Just unreal.
It is really unbelievable. It's just magical. It's so neat to see people. It looks like they're defying gravity. It's just really neat to watch.
Essentially, exactly. And the one thing that I never watched too much of, but I think it was yesterday, the day before, I was watching a bit of it, and it was the biathlon. And that's crazy. I mean, those athletes' legs are like massive because the gun goes and they're pretty much running with their skis. Like, oh my god.
That was the craziest thing I watched all Olympics. I don't know who came up with it. It's pretty crazy, but to think that you'd be skiing and all of a sudden you would need to shoot this gun, That is really interesting. I would really like to know how that came together.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but yeah, it's fun to watch. But just like it's like seeing all these guys like literally running in their skis, it was funny but cool at the same time because it's not exactly an easy thing to do, right? So
I have so much appreciation for it. I could never begin to do that. It was spectacular to see that kind of sportsmanship and to see that kind of athleticism, to go from going, focusing on your legs with your skiing and then to have to calm your arms enough to be able to shoot at that level is just phenomenal.
well, exactly. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting one. Got a few things here in rock news. Ted Nugent. He pardon?
Oh, I was just groaning.
Yeah. He's apologized for calling Obama a subhuman mongrel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ted.
He said in the quote, he goes, I do apologize not necessarily to the president, but on behalf of much better men than myself, he said to radio host Ben Ferguson, according to CNN.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So always a stand-up citizen, that guy. So
Oh, yes, always.
I mean, I could go on about him forever. So, but I'm not going to, because. But
Yeah, I have a few choice words myself.
yeah. But next up, Questlove. He is the drummer on the Tonight Show, and he's also part of the band hip hop band Roots, which, by the way, I love, and they are awesome. So like, can't say enough good things about them because it's all like instruments. It's not like like loops and this, that, and the other thing. So very cool musicians to watch play. So he'll be guest starring on Law and Order SVU as a dead body.
Oh my god!
So
they couldn't give him no lines.
apparently not. So this time around, yeah, he's gonna be a cadaver that they're gonna be looking at. So so that's kind of fun, I guess. I mean, it'd be nice if he had some actual lines, but the other thing too is the U.S. Postal Service the next 2 years will be putting out new stamps with Jimi Hendrix, John Lennon, Jim Morrison, and I think those will be fairly cool to see. I'd be excited to see those. So they haven't given an exact date, but the next 2 years they'll be in circulation.
Oh, well, that'll be neat to see.
And lastly, good old Pharrell. His hat is going to be put up for auction. The one he wore at the Grammys. So, but they're pretty much saying it's going to go for the price of a subcompact car. So probably it's expected to fetch, let's say, between $9,000 to $10,000 for some reason. I don't know why personally, but I'd never pay that for a hat, let alone a Stars hat. Like even Slash's hat. As much as I love the guy, there's no way to pay that kind of money for his personal hat.
Yeah, I totally see what you're saying. Are they auctioning off for a charity or just from?
It is for a charity. I'm just not sure which one. I don't think it specified that, but it's for a charity.
Oh, well, that's sweet. I know at Cannes every year they have where certain celebrities will agree to go on a date with somebody and they auction, themselves off. And I'm thinking to myself, who could afford $500,000 to go have dinner with George Clooney?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Not your average Joe, obviously. So.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me. But I mean, what do you talk about after you've spent $500,000 to have a date with George Clooney?
Yeah, I know. I you got me in that one. There's yeah, no. There's no way I'd ever pay that kind of money, even if I did have it. So. But the one other thing about Pharrell's big hat is during the Grammys, the chain Arby's tweeted him and asked him if they could have their hat back. And then since the hat's going up for auction, Pharrell tweeted them back saying, the hat can now be yours if you want to own it.
That's neat. That would be cool if Arby's bought it and then they, had it. They traveled around like the hockey cup and they sent it to different Arby's to be seen.
Yeah. I don't know how much of a draw you get from that, but it could potentially work. I don't. Yeah, no, I know. I can't see it. Hey, come see Pharrell's hat. They wore the Grammys. Like, one person there. I actually just came here for lunch. You know? Yeah. So.
Would you go see Slash's hat at Arby's?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't. That's the,
How about Wendy's?
yeah. Oh, much better. Well, they got the 199 menu, so I guess why not? might be worth it.
Might be.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what's going on. Tonight in indie music, Pub Rebellion, his new EP will be launched tonight. So if you're in the Manchester area, be sure to go down and see it because the album is awesome. I have it, and my review will be going up fairly soon. Just a matter of trying to get it finished. So do apologize for that delay, but yeah, if you're in that area, go out and see them because they're an awesome band. This will be their second EP. So that'll wrap it up for that. Your blogs this week, Britt. What have you been working on, and what are you coming up with, or what are you going to be doing shortly?
Okay. Well, this week I had one new article. I'll be publishing 2 movie reviews today, but this week I started a new feature called Sonic Assembly, which is where I assemble, quote unquote, 3 musical artists and spotlight them, highlighting kind of a mini review of what they got going on. To get people interested, this week's artists were the artists that kicked it off were Eliza Niels, who is a blues rock kind of old school Motown. She's from Detroit, and really cool musician, and she has these old school tracks. So she was featured. The Palace Wolves, which features the drummer from the Cornerstones. They had I listened, very cool EP out called 12. Electro and kind of synth pop and very neat, big sounds. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Muse. I really enjoyed it. And the third artist was Billy Shaddix, who is I love how everything is a little different this week. But folksy country, but not too country, Americana artist who has this mountain mystique that kind of reminds me of John Denver. So really cool. He's got a new album out. It's called Golden Fate. I hope I'm remembering that correctly. Apologies if I didn't. I'll tweet a correction if I'm wrong. But yeah, really cool sounds. Very earthy, and sometimes I know this week is just a crazy week. You just want to kind of unwind, and a really mellow album. So very cool. We'll have another Sonic Assembly next week, and then today I'll be publishing movie reviews for the Oscars coming up next Sunday. I'm sure you'll be glued to the TV.
Try to be.
Well, I'm going to tape them and watch them, it's just so many commercials, and quite frankly, I think it runs a little long, but Gravity, I reviewed Gravity. It's really big, a lot of nominations. It is not a great film. Let me just put it out there. It's just not a good movie.
You know what? I'm not a big fan of George Clooney, and I haven't seen it, and I didn't really have any intention of seeing it anyways. I mean, just from the commercials or the previews, not really. I just didn't get into it at all. So I was initially passing that anyway. So, but it's good to know if it ever came on TV.
Yeah, I'll avoid it. I really enjoy movies where sometimes it can be claustrophobic to take place in one situation, but if you have characters that you can care about and care about if they live or die, a few years ago, the 127 Hours with James Franco and The Open Water. Have you seen that where they're stranded in the ocean, the scuba divers?
I have not, no.
Okay, it's a really amazing independent film. It really is riveting, and they had a sequel. It was very good as well, Open Water 2. It is a movie that teaches you some very important life lessons, and I think for any movie dealing with that topic is the issue of what makes you survive. Do you really feel that a lot of it comes from willing to live? Do you feel that will to live? Are you going to fight? And for me with Gravity, they set so much up for her character not to want to live. I was like, why did she become convinced that she has nothing to live for? So I really didn't get the message of the film, and to be quite honest, I felt like the whole script and everything. It was playing second fiddle to the special effects, which were what the movie was completely about, showing off. And I quite frankly didn't find them that outstanding to deserve all of that attention.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'll agree with you on the fact that there's a lot of movies like that. Like I said, I can't speak for that movie in particular, but I know what you mean, because there are a lot of movies you can't figure out why they got any nominations at all. It was like nothing special, but just because they did, let's say, like a special kind of topic, everyone's like, oh, yes, you know, like, let's go with this. They did this. Oscar.
Oh, I know. It's a lot of it's just, I don't really get it. There was a movie that came out a few years ago called Moon, which starred Sam Rockwell. Have you seen it?
To be honest with you, I don't think I've actually even heard of it.
Oh, okay. It's actually directed by David Bowie's son. Just a fun fact to throw in there.
Oh, right on.
Oh yeah, it is such an outstanding movie. It's about Sam Rockwell's character is an astronaut. He's stationed on the moon. He has basically 24 hours left to go, so that he can come home. And something happens that changes all of that. And it is such an emotional, beautiful movie. And it's a one-man show. He's the only actor in it, aside from the voice of Kevin Spacey's a robot. And it is a stellar movie. And I don't understand how a movie like that gets ignored and this gravity gets all this attention. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I wish I had an answer for that, but I don't. So,
are you a big Sandra Bullock fan?
I like her, but I wouldn't say, like, you know, like she's one of my favorites. I mean, I think she's a good actress, but, you know, I'm not gonna go out of my way to see every movie she's in. Like, I mean, if it looks worth well, then maybe I'll watch it. Otherwise than that, I mean, just like most actors, you know, most actors, I think they're good actors or actresses, but a lot of them are not really kind of run out to see every movie they do, because obviously they're not all that good, and some of them, I don't know. I like movies, but sometimes I think I've been kind of bored with them lately.
Okay, well, that is that. When you see, what's the last great movie that you saw?
Good question. Let's see. Probably as much as I hate the guy, Wolf on Wall Street was really good.
Oh.
Okay,
that was my last great movie too.
Other than that, I mean, I've seen some really, I've seen like what I think are like really good movies, but no, they're not like Oscar-winning movies, but they're good, like Iron Man 3, and there's a few others. 'Cause I haven't been to theaters tons in the past little bit, and I'm also, I can't really remember at this point right now what the last movie I saw was in the theaters. I know it wasn't too long ago. I'm just not coming to me right now.
Was it Anchorman?
Actually, yeah, it was. Shows you how often I've gone in the past like little while.
I know, but there's so much that I want, you know, when it comes that you kind of have to just wait for video, but there's so much stuff, and it seems like when you actually want to go to the theater, there's nothing on.
Well, that's right, you know, like, and because a lot of them are kind of getting in the repeat mode where for a while they're doing so many remakes, and that was kind of getting old, and then they're doing pretty much the same plot line, just like a different name to the movie, and like slight differences, but not too much. Yeah,
that is very true. And interesting you bring that up. It kind of brings me to the next movie I reviewed, which is one of the Wolf of Wall Street, one of the best movies I've seen in a very long time. But there's another really great movie, About Time, with Rachel McAdams and Domhnall Gleeson, who's the son of Brendan Gleeson, the Irish actor. Have you seen this movie?
I haven't seen the movie. I know of the movie, but I haven't seen it. Okay,
this is just such a spectacular movie. I loved it. I laughed, and I don't want to be like spoilery, but it takes me a lot to get emotional in a movie, because I'm so invested in knowing that, you know, I'm like, oh, this is a movie. So I don't kind of let myself go there, but I cried in this one. This is just kind of embarrassed to admit that, but yeah, this is just so sweet. Basically, it follows Domhnall Gleeson's character. He's 21, and he's living in England, and he finds out from his dad that they are time travelers. And so basically he can go back in time, and he goes into a door, and he comes out, and he's been able to switch time. No sci-fi, no special effects, no whizzing around of, for whatever reason, atomic matter to show you this. He just goes into a door, he comes out, and they have come back into time. So he falls in love with Rachel McAdams' character, and more than that, it's just a story about his family and his dad and their relationship, and it centers really about talking about life and how there's so many times I think everyone can relate to if they had a second chance to do something over, they want to.
Right.
I'm sure you felt that.
Oh, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so it kind of explores what happens if you really become overconsumed with that. If you do second chances, how original and amazing your first experience can be. It's something you're not being able to repeat that. It's just such a poignant film. It's directed and written by Richard Curtis, who did Love Actually and Notting Hill, and this is going to be his last movie, and you can really just sense that in the movie because all of this emotion and reflection, it really comes through. It was such an emotionally powerful movie, and for Rachel McAdams, who did the horrible time traveler's wife, she gets a do-over, and she really pulls it off here. Did you see The Time Traveler's Wife?
No, yeah, none we haven't seen, but I saw the preview, so they pretty much pieced the movie together for me, so I kind of get the gist of it.
Yes, that trailer really did blow that movie. I mean, they gave everything away.
Yeah, so yeah, I didn't really need to see the movie for that one, but though two things just before I forget. This past week I had 2 interviews. I had one with Doll on Wednesday, and on Monday had the Dead End Drivers. Both a lot of fun, and let me tell you, Doll was a trip and a half. It was really funny. We actually had to start a second show because we were talking so much, so it was a really good time. And guys, check him out on Twitter. It's at Doll Music, so check him out there. He is on SoundCloud as well. Definitely a worthwhile artist to listen to because he's very versatile in his creations, so be sure to check him out. Tonight will be, of course, another new episode of New Music Saturday. Got a bunch of new music for you, so that'll be really cool. And I'll probably play a new one from the new Wild Young Hearts album, California Girls. So we'll definitely probably get to one of those songs. That should be a lot of fun. As everybody knows from last weekend when we went through the album song by song, it was a lot of fun and a really good album, definitely worthwhile. And Britt, I know you did a review on it as well.
Yes, I did. Great album, really fun. Just a really cool throwback that mixes a lot of different eras into it, and I really did enjoy it. It's a really cool album. I almost felt like there's a little piece of everything in that album.
Yeah, I totally agree because we went through it song by song, and I was talking about the different influences that I picked up and and that sort of thing, and like lyrically and just sound wise for some of the songs, like the one song California Dreams, which is it's pretty much exactly what we talked about, how at least in the 60s and bands are still going to California to make a music career for themselves. So and of course the Mamas and Papas song, California Dreaming. Like, I mean, there's so many to go with it, and it's kind of got that nostalgic feel to it.
I totally agree with you.
Other than that, that's going to wrap it up for this week, and Arrow is back on this week, correct? Because the Olympics are over?
I believe so. Yes, it will be.
Okay, so we'll definitely have to talk about that next week for a brand new episode, and we'll see if they bring Roy back, but...
Please no.
Oh, yeah. we can just hope that they'll leave him out at least for a few more episodes, which I think is possible because the quote-unquote training is doing, so you never know. But it just depends on what plot line they're going to go with to make it work for one, but to make it interesting as well. And I mean, I just don't want to see it all about Laurel or all about the island. And I mean, I think they've explained quite a bit already. I'm not sure they need the island too much anymore, but we'll see what happens.
They really do need to leave that behind, the island. I'm very sick of it.
Yeah, exactly. It was interesting the first few times, but yeah, it's kind of run its course.
Yes, and I do not like that gray cinematography they do on it. It's so dreary and just, ugh.
Yeah, it almost makes you want to fall asleep, eh?
Yes, it does.
So, not to say it's it's obviously a great series, but yeah, that part of it kind of, it's like, and especially in the winter time since it's dark and cold already, so that doesn't help their cause.
No, like you said, great series. I criticize because I love.
Yeah. So that's all we have for this week. But until next time, which will be next Saturday, I'm going to say 3 o'clock unless anything changes. If so, we'll let everybody know. But Britt, like always, thanks for coming on the show, and we'll be talking to you next week.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk next time, guys, which is tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern for New Music Saturday. Until then, thanks for listening. Bones out.